Hi there. Are you a pet parent that has a social dog that loves to play with other furry friends? Maybe your dog's just not so sure and they might be a little bit more choosy with who they hang out with. At Playful Pups Retreat, we see all kinds of dogs. And today we are live at our Hershey Road location where we do doggy daycare, training, bathing services, and we're getting ready to start grooming. So we'll be talking more about that probably on another live. But today I am here in our very fun puppy room. Somewhere floating around is Turtle, who is my foster puppy. He is wandering and playing while we're doing the live. And I am here today with Val Stoner, who is a longtime employee that has worked for us for 6 years. 7 years. She used to work at another facility, so she has a ton of experience evaluating new dogs who are coming to us for daycare. So I invited her to join me today, and we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of dogs and which dogs might be appropriate to come here and join us for daycare. So there are 4 types of dogs for the most part. We've got the dog social dog, and that accounts for about 10% of dogs. So not very many, and those are the dogs that are usually appropriate for what we call traditional doggy daycare.
Correct.
So Val, when we have dogs coming into us, and we're considering them for one of our many programs, what are you looking for?
Initially, it's the body language, I think, is the easiest. When dogs are coming in, you see that loose, you see that wiggly, you see that smile, not the stressed smile, not the stiff body, but a dog that's already engaged coming in and excited to participate in something new.
Yeah. Now, do those dogs, so when we're doing a meeting, right, when we're doing a first-time dog meeting, we have a process we follow.
We do.
And tell me a little bit about what's the first step?
Our evaluation process, first off, is the dog becoming familiar with handlers and the people working with, just so that that's not an extra hurdle that the dog's going to need to go over.
Right.
So once we've established that the dog is okay with people, willing to try new things, come out of their comfort zone just a little bit, I like to bring them out to the yards and let them sniff around. And there are a lot of noises. There are a lot of smells. There's a good deal of barking at all times. So there's a lot of things that not the typical dog who's never played in a pack before may be familiar with.
Right. And we have a really busy environment here.
We do.
So Playful Pups Retreat, every facility is going to be different. Right, every place local, if you live in central Pennsylvania, is going to handle their daycare differently than we do. So for us on a given day, we do have about 100 dogs in this building. And they're going to be in various programs.
Correct.
It might be traditional daycare, enrichment daycare. They might be part of our puppy program in the room we're in right now. And it might be part of a training program. So we have a lot of different options.
Absolutely.
So we're evaluating that dog in a kind of chaotic environment.
Yeah,
and not every dog can tolerate that.
Absolutely.
So you're looking for the behavior, the body language, the calming signals, which I don't think we've talked about on a Facebook Live before. We should probably, Nicole's our camera operator as always, we should probably talk about calming signals sometimes and body language.
Absolutely.
Because that would be great for the pet parent.
Yeah.
We know because we've been in this industry forever, but it's something that pet parents may not be familiar with.
Sure.
So you're looking at body language and calming signals, and then you start doing dog introductions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once we've established that the dog is kind of settled in just a little bit, not nervously pacing, not looking for a way out, that's the best time to bring on a friend.
Okay.
Oftentimes, I do like to just bring a friend into what we call an X-pen setting. It's a barrier that the dogs can see each other through. They can sniff each other through, but without as much maybe nervousness as they would in a face-to-face greeting.
Yes.
Face-to-face isn't generally the most polite way for dogs to greet, so that way they can at least get a little sense of each other's energy as well.
Yeah, and energy's huge, and they can sniff and smell each other through that pen.
Sure.
And it does alleviate some of the pressure, I think.
It does, especially if a dog might perhaps act differently on leash. I know some people say that their dogs might be a little more reactive or a little more excitable, a little more, so there are definitely some contributing factors there.
So let's say we're introducing a dog, they meet through the X-Pen, they do really well, and we've got a happy, bouncy dog that seems like that dog social dog I mentioned. What's the next step?
My next step would be to grab the perfect friend. We're very lucky to, I'm very lucky to have known some dogs 7 years of their lives, and really calls out the tried and true personalities, which makes for an easy, I don't mean to say it, but easy grab for a friend sometimes.
They're kind of like our doggy ambassadors.
They are. They are our doggy ambassadors and our welcome wagon.
Right.
So that would be the time. I always have somebody else with me. It's never a one-person job because that compromises safety. So generally, I will have another employee with me. They will grab one of our ambassador dogs, and we will mill on over to the yard once the smells have been, explored a little more. At that time, leashes are brought out, and we will begin some leash walking. Usually, I will try, for the most part, to have the ambassador dog in front, so that the new dog can kind of walk behind and follow.
And get some smells in.
Absolutely.
Sneak in a few sniffs.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is very important. We do have a lot of new guys who are not as familiar, I guess, with the doggy etiquette. So sometimes some of the newer guys are a little more excited, a little more up in the face, a little more, luckily our tried and true guys know that they handle it very appropriately, and we're able to redirect leash walking in order to just give each of them a little breather between things.
Good. And we want each new dog that we're considering for one of our programs, we want them to be comfortable. We want them to be in a calm state of mind. We don't want them to be nervous or anxious, ideally. Now, some dogs are going to be. Right? We have dogs that will come to us, and often it's adolescents, probably, that have really never been in this type of environment. Unless they started in our puppy program, they may have never been in a daycare environment. And they're a little, we have to know body language, and we have to read them. We have to know how to read them. And
it's a learning curve.
Oh my gosh, it really is.
It's a lot to learn for guys who aren't quite as familiar with the pack play. But that's the time too that gives us a little idea of the things that will need to be worked on, things that might suggest that a dog might be better at maybe a canine enrichment program as opposed to a traditional daycare program. It just depends. There's so much energy in those yards sometimes. The guys who are just learning it at that time might need just a little smaller scale to begin with.
Well, and sometimes we need to take those baby steps.
Absolutely.
And this is kind of a good segue to talk briefly, because this is the dog social dog. Okay, we've got, and that's about 10% of dogs are dog social. And they're what we would call a green light dog. They party, they play, they have fun. They're really good with almost every dog.
It's like the human social butterfly.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And those dogs, though, maybe young dogs, they may start out in life as dog social, and as they age, they may need to move into a different program. They may, in this industry, we call it aging out. Turtle's playing with his toys. Hopefully the squeaking's not too much. But they may age out of daycare, and that doesn't mean it's a bad dog.
No.
They may just be more appropriate for something different. Or they hit a point in life where maybe they need training. So that kind of takes us to the next group of dogs, which is dog tolerant dogs. And those dogs, when you're evaluating them, they're not going to love every dog.
Correct.
They might be a little bit older. Maybe they weren't socialized really well when they were puppies. So if we have a dog tolerant dog, they like most other dogs. But sometimes it's on their terms.
Absolutely.
When we're evaluating that dog, you look at different things probably.
Definitely. First, we want to see what kind of engagements the dog has with other dogs, whether it be sniffing or what we say like mingling, milling about, exploring. A lot of them end up cuddling with each other, and that's beautiful too. Sometimes we have other guys though that are a little less accepting, I guess, of new friends, and like you said, as dogs get older, that's to be expected.
Well, their personalities change just like humans.
Absolutely.
Right? Over time, we all change. We all grow and evolve. Our likes and dislikes change. And I think we underestimate that dogs are very, very similar in that aspect. And a lot of people think, if their dog was great in daycare when they were younger, that they're always going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's not true. We know as pet care professionals that's not true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
that's true.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
I do often say too, you know, when young guys first start coming to us, even the first 3, 4, 5 years of their lives, you know, Disneyland's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. But if you go to Disneyland for 7 years in a row, 3 times a week, it's probably not going to hold. The glory is probably not quite what it was at one time.
Very true.
So.
Yeah, very true. So our second type of dog is the tolerant dog. And that dog can also be really good for daycare. Mm-hmm. They might be good for traditional daycare. Now, traditional daycare for us at Playful Pups is all day play. And they're out in a group the majority of the day, depending on the dog. They may come in for breaks. They may get a frozen treat. You know, depending on the dog. We're going to, with everything we do at Playful Pups, we tailor it to each individual dog. Some dogs are going to get tired, and they might self-regulate, right, and go lay on a bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some dogs may be, it might be a crazy teenager, what I call lovingly call the juvenile delinquents. They might need to come inside and have a more structured break.
Yeah.
So we do that sometimes.
We do.
And then, but that tolerant dog is usually good for traditional daycare, or will often need to transition to enrichment daycare, or they might move eventually to doing a day stay, which is another option that we offer, or training.
And some of the blessed ones really are okay out there. I mean, there are some guys that just say, you know what? It's a beautiful day. I
just want to hang out.
Yeah, we hung out for a little bit. I'm going to be over there. You want to take a nap with me?
Yeah.
And that's perfectly fine.
I think we have quite a few of those dogs, right? That we have some 8, 9, 10-year-old dogs, 11-year-old dogs.
We do.
And as they age, they're not going to party and play quite as much, but
as long as they're not having a bad time.
Right.
Yeah, we want everybody
not stressed.
Absolutely.
So, and that's a good that's transition. What are some stress signals? If a dog is not having fun in daycare, what's that look like?
A lot of times it looks like isolation. You'll see a dog hiding in a corner, hiding behind things, maybe clinging to staff a little more than they should. Okay. We'll see dogs maybe guarding objects that they didn't before, such as leaves, just bits of their friend's hair, very hygienic things. But you'll see a little more temperamental side, guarding space, not being as tolerant as when peers are around them.
Yeah.
So,
and that is something we often see with age.
Absolutely.
Right, because you can have a lot of the young puppies aren't always going to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And pet parents, you don't always understand in this environment. It's very different than what you see at home with your dog.
Sure.
So we may have a dog guarding a water bowl or guarding a team member, and it sounds weird, but guarding leaves or chunks of ice when we get to winter.
Yeah.
Right. They guard some really strange things.
They do.
So when we get to that point and we see those behavioral changes or those stress signals. And I know sometimes we see panting or pacing.
Yeah, excessive barking, trying to escape the yard possibly.
Yeah.
So in general, you just see a dog that's really not as thrilled about being there as perhaps it used to be.
Yeah, and that's generally when we would have a conversation with you, the pet parent, that, hey, it doesn't seem like your pup's having as much fun as they used to. Maybe we should look at moving them to enrichment daycare, where it's not that all-day play model. Or maybe they'd be happier doing a day stay.
Sure.
Or maybe they'd be happier at home on the couch, right? Some dogs, they don't really want to be here anymore, and that's okay, right? As dogs age, my personal dogs, and I think you have some dogs that have kind of moved on.
I do.
They don't really dig daycare.
They loved it when they were younger.
Yep, but then they kind of are like, you know what?
Now they're about 10.
Yeah. I'd rather be at home on the sofa.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, and what we really want to emphasize today is that's okay, and that doesn't make your dog a bad dog. If you have a dog that doesn't really love other dogs, that's okay. That's beautiful. It's finding what meets their needs.
Yeah.
And so that we'll talk really quickly, because I know I have a tendency to go long. I love to talk about dogs. But the next type of dog is dog selective. And that's about 40% of dogs. So we have, to recap, dog social is about 10%. Dog tolerant is about 40% of dogs. The next group is dog selective. And they're going to have a pretty small group of friends.
Yeah.
Those dogs may not be appropriate for daycare, right?
They probably would not.
Yeah, it really depends on the individual dog, but that dog, and we have some of those that come to us, that dog's probably going to be better for day stays. And that's still daytime care. They have fun, they get socialization, they might be able to get
a friend
they
or
find,
two.
Exactly, one friend, two friends, they might get a nature walk with a friend, or they might just have alone time with staff. And some dogs just want the human beings. They love the human beings.
They do.
And then the final 10% in the Dog Sociability Scale is going to be your dog aggressive dogs. And those dogs obviously don't dig other dogs. They don't love having time with furry friends. They're going to be happier with the human beings. They want that time and attention. And they can still have super fulfilling lives.
Absolutely.
Doing fun things.
That they enjoy.
That they enjoy and that they really prefer.
Yeah.
So the aggressive dog is about 10% of dogs. And you, the pet parent, you know your dogs, right? And you know what they love and what they don't love. So I think the biggest thing that we need to realize is what can we do to have the happiest, healthiest dogs, and what can we do to help them thrive and to be in the right environment. So at Playful Pups Retreat, we offer all kinds of solutions for pets. If you are a busy pet parent and you need to have a place for daytime care for your dog, it might be traditional daycare or enrichment daycare, but it also could be day stays or training. We offer some amazing day training programs that are beautiful options to help dogs be happy, healthy, to learn, to grow, to gain confidence. We also have a positive experiences training program specifically for that shy, nervous, timid dog. So we have a lot of different options. Nicole, before we wrap up today, do we have anybody live with us, and are there any questions?
We've got a handful of people live, but no questions.
Okay. If you want to learn more about daytime care for your dog, any of our options that we have, whether it be day training, a stay and train, overnight lodging, whatever it is, we kind of are. We want to be that full service resort where we're offering everything you might need, which is also why we're starting dog grooming very soon. We're here for you. We want to be your partners in the lifetime care of your pet, and we want to be here to help educate you and help you learn more about your dog and how you can have the very best relationship with them. So if you have questions, please reach out to us. Otherwise, we're signing off for today, and we will join you in a couple weeks at our Milton Grove Road location.